Yo, what's up? Dr. Swole here, MD, bodybuilder, back with another video. So I got a question on one of my YouTube videos from Alan Bukvik saying that I would be very interested in more of these videos on splits, mainly in push-pull legs. Also a female version with emphasis on glutes, legs, and abs, for example, and an upper-lower variation. Great question, and I'm going to be covering a couple of these more advanced splits now. So we're going to be doing upper-lower today. I really like the upper-lower split. It's personally my favorite, and I'm using a modified version of it right now because it's so versatile. I think it's great for beginner to advanced athletes, and as you'll see in a bit, there are a lot of ways we can modify this split to suit your level of advancement and to emphasize different muscle groups. So if you're ready to learn, let's begin. All right, so we're gonna start off with a 4 days per week variation of this upper-lower split. Note that upper-lower works best if you're training in the gym at least 4 days per week to satisfy our twice per week frequency recommendation. Now you'll be alternating upper and lower workouts, but for simplicity's sake in terms of visualizing our upper body and lower body, I'll write upper 1, upper 2, lower 1, and lower 2 workouts here. Sets and reps are written beside and exercises are down here. Now I'll say right from the get-go that if you're programming an upper-lower split for 4 days per week and you're staying strictly upper body and lower body, you're naturally going to have an emphasis on the lower body just because there are more muscle groups in the upper body that you need to cram in on those upper body days. So we'll see some consequences of this in a bit. We'll start off with chest. So here we've got bench press on day 1 and incline dumbbell bench press on day 2. I like to have a bit of incline work as well as a mixture of dumbbell and barbell work. You'll see that the bench press is where we incorporate our low rep work in the 5 rep range here, which constitutes our 1/3 of the volume that is outside the 6 to 12 rep range according to our rep range recommendation. Next, you've got some overhead pressing for the anterior delts. Now for back, on day 1, we've got weighted chin-ups followed by single arm dumbbell rows. And on day 2, we've got the barbell row and lat pull down. Notice that I start with a vertical or a horizontal pull and then follow it by the opposite direction. Lat pull downs as a machine movement work well in the higher rep ranges, so we'll use it for outside the 6 to 12 rep range volume here. Then for the side delts, you've got dumbbell lateral raises and cable lateral raises. You can venture into the higher rep ranges on day 2. For biceps, we have a similar deal to the side delts, barbell curls and dumbbell curls. And for triceps, we have close grip bench presses and skull crushers. Let's move on to the lower body now. I'm actually going to take this day by day, so we'll start with lower body day 1. You're going to start off with squats, 5 by 5 to 8. So you got your low rep sets of 5 here, which fits our recommendation for 1/3 volume outside of the 6 to 12 rep range and can be used for strength building. Then we'll have RDLs and then leg presses and lunges. Notice that I like doing the heavy free weight compound movements before the machine movements. Following up lastly with some calves and abs. For abs, I like to use giant sets in order to fit in more volume. So you'll see I've written this as a tri-set here. What that means is you would take 3 exercises, for example, a hanging leg raise, standard crunch, and a bicycle crunch, and then you would do sets of those one after the other with minimal rest. Moving on to day 2 here, we've got 3 by 5 of the deadlift. That's our low rep strength work. Then we've got some front squats. Then we've got lunges again, and we have some isolation work for the legs, leg extensions, and leg curls, which we'll program here in the higher rep range. Lastly, again, you've got calves and abs. This program works well for guys who need to bring up their legs or ladies who want to focus on their lower body. If you want more of a glute focus, I would suggest replacing the lunges with heavy hip thrusts and adding a few sets onto that. When I write asymmetric splits like this, I will write out my exercises as you've seen here, and then I'll tally up the number of sets afterwards, and then go back and forth tweaking the number of sets for different muscle groups until I'm happy. As I said, this program as written will favor the legs, so there's lots of quads, hamstring, and glute volume here. I also like to write the number of total sets at the bottom of my workout, just to have an idea of how long that workout is going to be. Notice that my upper body workouts are significantly longer than my lower body workouts, and that's just because we have more muscle groups to hit on the upper body day. Now, disadvantages of this program as I've written it are that you have relatively low volumes on your upper body, and for a lot of people, they might find that the smaller muscle groups like their delts and their biceps get fatigued at the end of a long upper body workout, and it's hard to fit in a lot of volume for those. The other problem is that a lot of people find that their smaller muscle groups like side delts and biceps respond best to higher frequencies, like 3 or 4 times per week. So I'm going to show you how to modify this upper-lower split to address those disadvantages. So here's the modified program. Right away, if you look at the sets per week, we've taken some away from the legs and put it onto our back, side delts, and biceps. You can pause this and go through the changes I've made yourself, but most of it's the same. I've just redistributed some of the volume. Now, the main change I want you to notice here is that I've taken my side delt and bicep work and split it up to spread it over all 4 days. So now you see that I'm doing some form of lateral raises on all 4 workouts and some sort of curls on all 4 workouts. You'll see that this small change very efficiently addresses the disadvantages of our upper-lower split as written before. Now you can see the total number of sets is very equal among workouts, so you're not going to have one workout that takes far longer than the other. And you've got more volume in your upper body, which is a bit more of a balanced program, and you've got a high frequency for small muscle groups like the side delts and biceps. Notice that you can do this for other muscle groups as well, which you might find to respond better to higher frequencies or that you want to prioritize with more volume. For example, the calves or the back. To do that, for example, you might take some of your calf raise sets from your leg days and swap them with back sets from your upper body days. Now, this is getting towards more of a modified full body split, so we'll discuss how to do that in another video. You'll notice that this program, as written, can be modified very easily to fit a power building type routine. You can have a day centered on bench press, overhead press, squat, and deadlift. This might seem familiar to you if you've ever followed a 5-3-1 or similar beginner to intermediate strength program. I'll also mention that I've just listed the exercises here in terms of muscle groups. However, upper-lower splits lend themselves really well to doing antagonistic supersets. To do this, you will alternate between pushing and pulling type movements, for example, alternating your overhead press with your chin-ups and alternating your curls with your tricep work. All right, so let's talk about how to program this upper-lower split into your week. Upper-lower works really well for 4 days in the gym or more. So starting off with 4 days in the gym per week, we've got upper Monday, lower on Wednesday, and then upper-lower Friday, Saturday. Notice that you can shuffle these around in the week in a very flexible manner. This takes advantage of the fact that upper and lower days can be placed back to back. And it's really useful for when you have a schedule that changes from week to week. Now, one of the disadvantages of an upper-lower split, as traditionally written, is that it favors the lower body. So if you wanted to have an upper body focus, let's say we're doing this now 5 days per week, you've got 3 upper body days and 2 lower body days. If you wanted a lower body focus, you can do, again, 5 days per week with 3 lower body days and 2 upper body days. To do this with the programs I've given you before, take day 1 of the upper body or day 1 of the lower body and simply do it again. Note that when you're getting to higher frequencies, like 3 times per week or more, or higher volumes like 15 sets per week or more, you'll find that you generate a lot of fatigue and get burnt out throughout the week. To combat this, put more volume in the higher rep ranges, like 12 to 20 sets, and in isolation work. Notice that when I write these 5-day splits, I like to split up my rest days, which lets you spread out your work throughout the week more evenly. You'll also notice that I didn't just alternate upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, but I swapped the 2 in this case. Now, I just said that with upper, lower workouts, you can place them back to back with no problem. However, if given a choice, I would prefer to lead with the upper body workout rather than the lower body. The reason is that when you have a very taxing lower body workout, including say squats or deadlifts, that will negatively impact you the next day for your upper body workout since you're so fatigued. An upper body workout is less fatiguing and you're less likely to impact a leg day that follows the next day. Lastly, for advanced trainees who need a lot of volume, you can do a 6-day per week upper lower split, alternating throughout the week. That's all for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about these tutorials on splits. See you next time.